I'm Melissa Shanahan, and this is the Velocity Work Podcast, episode number 100. This podcast is for attorneys who are running their own firms. We explore tactics, tools, and stories related to pushing past simply lawyering well and into building a successful firm. Working in your firm and working on your business are two very different things. This podcast focuses on the latter. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 100th episode of the Velocity Work Podcast. What in the heck? I can't believe that we're at 100. So here we go. Today's episode is all about making yourself proud, feeling pride. I want you to think about a time in your life that you can recall where you felt such a deep sense of pride. You were beaming with pride. And I want you to just be in that moment and crawl up in your brain of the you at that point and think about what was running through your head. What were you thinking? What thoughts were you thinking when you felt that pride? I would imagine it was something like, I did it. Look what I created. Look what we created if it was a part of a team. Or I'm so proud of myself. Maybe it was just that thought. Anything is possible. Am I on track? Can you guys relate? Is that what was running through your head? That's what was running through my head at some of my most proud moments. And here's the thing. This is what I want to talk about today. We wait for that end result or that end game or that destination to be reached before we feel pride. And we don't think about this very often, but you do hear me say that you can generate a feeling state on purpose because it's what you want to feel. And we tend to only think that pride is appropriate after you've achieved something huge. But here's what I want to tell you. You can feel pride all along the way. It's different, I think. When I think of the deep sense of pride, the beaming with pride, when you actually achieve something that you've worked really hard for a long time, that's very specific. And I think you guys probably heard a couple episodes. It was the Focus Forward Framework podcast where I talked about the third element, which is honoring your plan. And I talked about in there how easy it is for me to leap and impulsively just go after something and see it through. Moving across the country, no problem. Didn't give it a second thought. And I've done it several times throughout my 20s and 30s. And then also things like starting a business, quitting my job, like taking leaps and risks, no big deal for me. But sticking with something really consistently, that's always been the thing that I have struggled with for much of my life, actually. And not so much anymore. Certain things, certainly, but I do it more now. I show up more consistently now for the things that I want to create in my world and in my life. So here's what I want to say about that. All along that journey, when you show up consistently for something, I have learned over time how important it is to feel a sense of pride for what you're doing, for the action that you're taking, for the wee step, the wee thing that you did, to feel a sense of deep satisfaction that you did that. And when I do have those moments of where I have recognition of the effort that I put in and satisfaction for showing up, even if it didn't go perfectly, but I showed up. Those moments, I feel pride. And it's smaller scale. It still feels really good, but I feel pride for what I'm doing. I'm making myself proud on a daily basis or at a very consistent basis. And I have different things I'm shooting for. So certainly, growing my business, but then also things with health and relationships and things like that, where when I show up on a regular basis, I feel really proud about that. Every day, I feel really proud about that. And I didn't used to. And so here's what I want to say. And I noticed that clients don't either. It's like they just wait for the biggie, the big result that gets created, and then they feel really proud. Other than that, they don't really identify with a feeling of pride. And I want you to see that when you experience the feeling state of pride, of being proud, the action that you naturally will take from that place is you will continue to show up. You will continue to create opportunities for yourself. You will continue to make chances and take chances. It's just a really beautiful cycle that occurs. You end up creating the results that you really want to create. But if you don't have this level of pride for the wee things that you do and for showing up every day and actually on purpose acknowledging it and recognizing it so that you do generate a feeling of pride, then what happens is you're winning and you're missing it. I've said this before, and it feels important for this 100th episode, for this to be the message, for this to be the thing that you guys can hear and take away on this 100th episode, is that the feeling of pride is so amazing. But the truth is that end result that you're shooting for, the only way it happens is if you show up again and again and again and again, and you take the small actions and you take the small steps. It is the wee things. That is the only reason why you ever get to the end result. And so why not feel proud every step of the way, knowing that you are doing it, you are in it, you are on your way, and you're proud of yourself for taking that next step. You're proud of yourself for showing up. That is where you want to generate on purpose the feeling of pride, because it keeps you going. It is fuel for the end result that you are shooting for. When you don't have a sense of pride and you don't have an acknowledgement and recognition around the steps that you're taking and the importance of those steps, and be proud of yourself for taking those steps, then what happens is you tend to be in a hurry to get to that end result, because you think you're going to feel really proud and accomplished and things are going to be better when you're there, right? But it's not true. You could feel proud and accomplished right now. And the truth is, you're actually doing the work right now. And so you should feel proud right now, because it is the thing that's going to give you the result. The result, for sure, you'll feel proud when you achieve that. And it's this beaming sense of pride. But don't miss the opportunity to recognize and have this deep sense of satisfaction with yourself and feel proud of yourself for showing up now and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. Because you are building it, you are doing it, and you should acknowledge and recognize that. You know, you will hear some experts talk about, and there's studies that have been done that show that if you reward yourself consistently as you're working towards a bigger result, that the people who reward themselves finish and get to the result much faster. But here's the thing I want you to understand. That's a tactic to apply a principle. And so the tactic is the reward, the principle that's being played out there. The reward is meant to help you recognize and be satisfied with the work you've done, right? The small steps you just took. And so when you attach a reward to it, it's just a way to trick your brain into waking up and recognizing and having a sense of pride for what you've done. Pride is generated when you look at what you've done and you feel really proud, then it is the thing that keeps the train going in the right direction. And so that's why in research, you put a reward there. It's just a mechanism to get the human to understand and recognize and feel a sense of pride for what they've accomplished. And it keeps them going. It's the same thing. And so I'm all about rewards. That's great. It's not a method that I teach, but I think they're fantastic. And yes, you should reward yourself as much as you want to for the work that you do, because it can serve as a way to experience a sense of satisfaction and pride for the work that you've put in. It's a recognition. But that's what I want to show you and tell you, is that reward or not, you have a choice every day to show up and to acknowledge yourself for showing up, to do the work and acknowledge yourself for doing the work, and acknowledge that that piece of the puzzle was so important. And so, yeah, high five, pat on the back. That's amazing. Like, I'm really proud of myself for doing that. Next. And then feeling a sense of pride the next time you show up, and then the next time you show up, knowing that it's a building block. So I kind of feel like I'm going in circles here. But what I want you to see is that every wee thing that you do that leads to some bigger result, to me, like the visual is this this straight horizontal line, and there's all these small dots along the line. And then at the very end of the line, there's this huge result, this huge dot that's like, yep, the mother, you just landed on the mother. But it's because of all this series of tiny, small steps that you took to get there, those small dots on the line. And so from my experience and what I've learned and my work with law firm owners and many other business owners, the feeling a sense of pride all along the way for each dot on the line is remarkably powerful to keep you going efficiently and effectively and without delay towards the result. And if you don't acknowledge, what ends up happening is that you leave yourself in the dust when you don't feel a sense of pride and you don't recognize the work you're putting in and you feel a sense of pride for it. Then you end up just using willpower to power through because you have your eyes set on that result and that's it, the end game. And so you push and you push and you push and you push to get there without acknowledging and having pride for all the work you're doing. And so you peter out faster, or you will hit roadblocks more often and barriers more often that are always mental. And so that's what happens. But acknowledgement keeps the train moving in the right direction. The more you can generate this feeling state of being proud, the better off you are. You have to remember that all of this, whether it's hard, no matter where you are on your journey, no matter what, where you are right now is just a part of progress. That's it. And so it's important to slow down and acknowledge it. And here's what I'll say about pride. When I think about the feeling state of pride and being proud of myself in the moment, there's two things I want to say. Number one is, it is not this egotistical state. That's not what it is. I'm not talking about chest puffed out, shoulders back, nose in the air kind of pride. That's not what I'm talking about. Many people are uncomfortable with the idea of feeling proud of themselves all the time without there being this big event that happens, this big, huge result that's created. And that's because of the association that they have with pride. They think that there's something wrong with you if you feel proud all the time. That means you're not a good person. Like there's some association with that. And if that is you and you're listening to this, I really want you to hear me. You should throw that out the window because it doesn't serve anyone. First of all, it's not like you're shouting from the mountaintops that you're proud. It's just a feeling that you have, right? It's a feeling state that you create on purpose. And here's the other thing I'll say about it is that pride, if you can feel pride on purpose, it's you taking care of you. It's you acknowledging you and the work that you're putting in and the effort that you're putting in. And so the more proud that you feel of yourself more often, it strengthens that relationship between you and you. And when I think about now, I'm pretty darn good at acknowledging the effort that I put in on a daily basis and showing up. And I feel proud of myself for the wee things all the time. I'm pretty good at that at this point. I've practiced it a lot and I've done it on purpose because of the effects of it. It feels awesome and it also produces some really great things. And as I do that, I have this more solid relationship with myself. And I'm not proud because of the solid relationship. I have the solid relationship because I was proud of myself. It's like me taking care of me and me seeing me acknowledging me showing up. And all of you have the same opportunity to do that. I think some are naturally better at it than others. But generally speaking, for humans, this is not a natural default state, is to just be proud of yourself on a daily basis. It's more natural to, when you want to beat yourself up and kind of let that override and be self-critical and for that to be the dominant thing. But for me at this point, I am critical of myself and I work really hard to quiet that down because it isn't helpful. But one thing that has really quieted it down has been me feeling on purpose a sense of pride for me showing up. So I want to offer that to you because if you're listening to this podcast, you are trying to do something big. You are trying to create a result that isn't a cakewalk. And I'm telling you, that if you can plug into this and if you can feel proud on a regular basis for the effort that you're putting in, every time you put in effort, you on purpose feel proud of yourself, you will get to your end result faster. And you can't fake that. So you can't like fake being proud of yourself and you'll speed up. This is real. Like you really have to put this into practice, and it is a practice. And you're going to, at first it might feel weird, and then you're going to keep showing up and you're going to keep acknowledging yourself and what you did, and you're going to feel proud, and you're going to have to think things on purpose in order to feel proud. The things that I typically think are like, good job, sister. You just showed up. That's how we do it. That's the building block. Or I'll think things like, you are on your way. Or we're doing this. You're doing this. Like those kinds of things I will think consistently, even on days where it sucks. Days where most of the day I'm not proud of how I've shown up, or I'm not proud of X, Y, and Z, or I have a really critical voice that day more than other days. I still on purpose will acknowledge showing up. And it just takes a moment. I think, there's some of you listening, I can imagine you're like, who has time to sit down and self-reflect and feel proud every day? It's a habit. That's all it is a habit. It's just you being willing to every day on purpose think in a certain way that generates a feeling state of pride. And from that, you usually take more action that then you feel proud of, right? So it's a really beautiful thing when you can feel pride more often. The reason I'm doing this podcast today is because when I was thinking about the 100th episode, I can't shake every time I try to go in a different direction with the topic. I just keep coming back to making yourself proud. I am not naturally inclined to do what it takes consistently for a long period of time to create something. And I do more and more of that the older I get, because I tune into this more and more, and I want to do that more and more. I want to make myself proud, right? With those big results that I'm creating, and I have to show up every day to do that. But this 100 episode mark, I feel really proud of it, and not in a hyper way, like in a deep, calm sense of pride that like, yeah. I mean, I have enjoyed the journey, and I've been proud of myself every time it's time to record an episode. I don't feel like recording an episode and I do it anyway. Or every time I get nervous because it's like, I don't know what I should talk about for, the next time I have to record. And then I do the work to dig in and figure it out anyway. Like all of that is not easy work for me. It wasn't easy work. And I've been doing it, and I consistently show up. And now here we are, and we're at 100 episodes. It is nuts to me that we have 100 episodes. And you know what's fascinating? It's just the beginning. And I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep doing the things, taking the actions, and thinking the thoughts that make me proud of myself, the wee things, episode by episode by episode. And we're going to get to 200. And then we're probably going to get to 300. If I still want to do the podcast at that point, if I still choose to do the podcast at that point, it's like, oh, this is how you do it. It's kind of boring. It's kind of not fun, but it is fun. The level of satisfaction is so much greater than the pride I feel every day is really important and meaningful, because it keeps me engaged and it keeps me going, and it keeps the journey as positive and with as much velocity as it can have, right? But if you do that work and you stay plugged in, you do end up creating results that you are so deeply proud of, that blow your own damn mind. And this podcast is just one example of how I'm doing that in my world, and you have examples of how you are doing it in your world. But what are you lining yourself up with that when you get there, it's going to blow your own damn mind? Even though, honestly, crossing the threshold, it kind of feels like no big deal. Like, well, of course, right? Of course we're here at 100. I've been doing this every week. I've been showing up every week. So of course we're at 100. But also there's a moment of reflection for me. Okay, we got to this milestone. I feel really proud of all the days I showed up, of all the resistance that I allowed and did the thing anyway, right? Like I'm proud of that collective set of actions, collective set of beliefs, and the way that I talk to myself to keep things on track, and the way that I feel to keep myself on track. Because this journey, I could have gotten to 100 and it could have been miserable and I could have not felt proud much of the way. And this would feel much different. This would feel more fleeting and a bit emptier, even though I'm here. But because I've actually felt pride all along the way, this 100 mark feels so much deeper with pride than it would otherwise. And the reason I know that is because I have definitely done things in the past where I showed up consistently, but with so much resistance and so much willpower and so much pushing and no sense of pride, no sense of acknowledgement from me showing up every day. It's like leaving myself in the dust, and then I get there and then it's just on to the next. There's no deep sense of pride. It's just like, yeah, okay, this is cool. What's next? Right? That isn't this. I have a really deep sense of pride with this, and I'm going to keep going. And I'm so excited for not just to hit the next milestone, but the process of it, and showing up and feeling proud every time I show up for it. I mean, that's what this game is. So I wanted to do this topic for the 100th episode because it signifies to me, this 100th episode signifies to me the very thing that I believe so deeply in, and that I teach, and that I work with clients on. It's just an example of the truth of it, of that when you show up and you acknowledge and you recognize your effort, and when you feel proud on purpose, what you can create and not feel like a shell of yourself when you get there is the best. It is the best feeling. It's mind-blowing. And I watch clients do it all the time. I also watch clients who haven't really grokked that yet and who are still leaving themselves in the dust. But they're on their way. They are in progress of trying to wrap their heads around this. And they're doing a very good job. They're staying plugged in. And they're doing a very good job. So I see both sides of it. I see people who take one path towards achievement and people who take another path towards achievement that I just described. It's very different. The path that I've been talking about this entire episode is so much more sustainable, is so much more enjoyable, and you get to your results faster, even though oddly you aren't hurrying. You're just showing up. There's something else that I noticed that I want to bring up here because it can make or break everything we're talking about. Something that I deal with, I see it in other people as well, is that maybe you've done something that day in a day that you feel really good of and proud of, and like you acknowledged your effort and there's a deep sense of satisfaction there. And then something else will happen that day that you are not proud of. And what ends up happening is that thing that you aren't proud of drives your whole narrative about you. And you have this story about what it means about you, can take you out of the practice of being able to acknowledge and feel proud of the things that you want to feel proud for. I'm going to give you an example of when this happened because it happened recently to me. So it was a Saturday. This was just a few weeks ago. I did some deep work planning for velocity work, and I felt good about the work that I did. It needed to be done. I scheduled time to do it. I showed up to do it, and I was really present for it, and it was important work. So I left that work session, so to speak, feeling really like a sense of pride, and I was proud of myself for doing it and showing up. Later that day, a guy knocked on our door. He was going door to door in the neighborhood selling his pest control services. And I was annoyed. I was home alone with our son and I was in the middle of feeding him. And so I was annoyed. And basically just the way that the interaction went down, I lost my shit on this guy. And I felt terrible. I knew as I was doing it, like, what are you doing? Just close the door, like even that would be better, closing the door on his face than telling him why his sales tactics suck. Jeez. So anyway, he left and I felt so bad. I was ashamed that I acted that way. Like, talk about emotional childhood. What the hell was I doing, right? I was just so judgmental and down on myself. I wished I could apologize to that guy. I was hoping I did not ruin his day. And I was embarrassed, like all the things. Not how I want to be, not how I want to show up, not how I want to act, none of it. So what ended up happening is that really overrode any sense of accomplishment that I had from the day, any sense of pride that I had from the day. It was just all gone because of the way I was thinking about it. And it's because I was so judgmental on myself and so self-critical. And I basically made that event wipe out anything else that happened that day. Nothing else mattered. I just sucked. Like, that's how I was viewing it. And we do this to ourselves in small ways. And in this case, to me, this felt like a big way. But we do this to ourselves in small ways too, where you have a win in the day and then you just forget about it because something got off track and that's all you can focus on. This is important to catch yourself in this, because this can throw you out of the cycle of a really healthy cycle that you have of acknowledging and feeling a sense of pride for the things you do. Essentially, there were two separate events, and I let one just run over both. Like, I was throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. I was basically discarding the good thing that I did and the pride that I did feel. It was just overrun by what I was feeling after this event that I wasn't proud of myself for. And so what I want to say is, it's important to acknowledge you're going to have events that you are proud of. You're proud that you showed up. You're proud of the effort. There's a sense of satisfaction there, and you're recognizing it, acknowledging it. And then you're going to have times that it almost is like the opposite, where you just, you could have done better. You could have shown up better. And your job is to make sure to stay very objective with those things. And it's fine to not feel proud of yourself for those moments that you wish you would have shown up differently. But leave that as its own event and take from it what you will, instead of making it the day, instead of making it the focal point and it wiping out any credit or acknowledgement or satisfaction or pride that you have for something else that happened in the day. I hope that makes sense to you guys, but it is something to watch, because we will have things go wrong a lot of days. And if it wins out and it drives the narrative of how we think about ourselves and how we think about our accomplishments and our progress, basically, then we're doing it wrong. And it's so easy to let that happen. So stay really objective with, the good events and the bad events. Like, there's something to be taken from it for sure, but don't let it overrun all the other good things and the positives of the day. I hope that makes sense. So coming back full circle here, no matter what goal you are shooting for, no matter what end result you want to create for yourself, whether it's in the law firm or whether it's in your personal life, you have a choice in what that journey looks like towards the end goal. Don't tell yourself otherwise. You have a choice. You have a choice to acknowledge yourself. You have a choice to recognize the effort you put in and how you showed up. You have a choice to feel proud of yourself for the wee things that you're doing, because you know that it is the wee things that you're doing that lead to the bigger picture, that lead to the end game. You have a choice to do that. And practicing that is some of the most important work I think you can do for yourself. Make yourself proud. Aim for something specific. Make a plan to get there and honor your plan, and acknowledge and feel proud all along the way. I think it's cool to be able to feel pride for and be really proud of things we've done in our past, of things we're doing right here today in the present, and things that we are creating in our future. You can feel pride right now on purpose for each of those things, for the past, for the future, and for the present. And for the future, just be proud. Feel proud now for doing what you're doing, meaning the future. Like for me, the 100 episodes, I felt proud because I knew I was going to create that. I felt proud of that result that I was going to create. And you can do that too with whatever results you want to create. Feel proud that that's what you're building, that you know you're going to get there. It's building it. And then in the moment, it's your job to feel proud about you showing up to do the wee things that it takes in order to get towards the result. We can feel pride in all three, and it's important to do so. And the more of that you do, oddly, the faster things speed up and the more you blow your own damn mind. All right, everybody, have a beautiful week. And thank you for being a listener for 100 episodes. It's only going to get better, my friends. This is just the beginning. Bye-bye. Hey there. If you enjoyed this podcast, I highly recommend you come and check out Mastery Group. It is where owner attorneys come together to study this material, apply it, and thus create really big results for their firm and for their life. So come on over, velocitywork.com/join to get more information and get started. Show notes from this episode can be found at velocitywork.com/podcast.